New Year's Eve performances come and go every year. But every now and then, one moment cuts through the noise and gets people talking long after the countdown ends. At the NYE 2026 countdown event, with 166,000 people in attendance, SB19 delivered a performance that did exactly that, and the result was a noticeable surge in Google searches for their name just hours later. So what really happened here? Why did this resonate the way it did? And why does this moment matter more than it might seem at first? Before we dive in, take a second to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy thoughtful breakdowns like this. Now, let's get into it. You see, New Year's Eve countdown events are already a big deal even before you add any artist to the lineup. People come with emotions running high. Some are celebrating wins from the past year, some are hoping the new year will be better, and others just want to be part of something memorable. There's a sense of closure and a sense of beginning happening at the same time. These events are also deeply symbolic. They're not just about music or entertainment. They mark a shared moment, thousands of people counting down together, all focused on the same clock, the same stage, the same few seconds that separate one year from the next. Now imagine that kind of atmosphere multiplied by 166,000 people in one place. That's not just a crowd, that's a city-sized audience gathered for one purpose, to welcome a new year together. When you look out at something like that, you're not just seeing fans. You're seeing families, groups of friends, couples, tourists, first-timers, and people who simply showed up to feel the energy of the night. And that's why this wasn't just another concert. It was a cultural moment. A snapshot in time where different generations and different backgrounds were all sharing the same experience. Many people in that crowd weren't die-hard SB19 fans. Some were casual listeners. Some may have only heard the name in passing. Others were seeing them perform live for the very first time. But in that moment, everyone's attention was on the same stage, waiting for midnight to arrive. And right in the middle of all that, SB19 was given one of the most important slots of the night. Not a filler performance. Not background music. A moment where all eyes were on them, at one of the most watched, most emotionally charged points of the entire event. SB19 didn't just come on stage to run through a set and leave. From the moment they appeared, it was clear they understood the weight of the moment and stepped into it fully. They weren't just performing songs, they were owning the stage at the time they were given. And that's not easy on New Year's Eve. On a night like that, people are easily distracted. There are fireworks going off, giant countdown screens pulling your eyes away, noise from every direction, and a crowd buzzing with excitement. It's the kind of environment where attention is hard to keep. But somehow, SB19 managed to pull the focus back to themselves. Their performance felt tight and intentional. You could tell they were well rehearsed, not in a stiff or mechanical way, but in a way that showed discipline and preparation. Every move had purpose. Nothing felt rushed or sloppy. The energy was high, but it never crossed into chaos. Instead of trying to overwhelm the crowd, they controlled the pace. They knew when to go hard and when to pull things back, which made the performance easier to follow and more enjoyable, even for people who weren't familiar with their music. They also carried themselves with confidence, but it wasn't loud or forced. It felt natural. They looked comfortable on a massive stage in front of a massive crowd, and that kind of calm confidence is contagious. The audience feels it and responds to it. What really stood out was that they didn't depend on flashy tricks or over-the-top effects to make an impression. No unnecessary gimmicks. No distractions. They relied on their presence, their precision, and their ability to connect with the people watching. And that's especially important when a large part of the audience might be seeing you live for the first time. In moments like that, you don't just want to be memorable, you want people to walk away thinking, I need to know more about these guys. Now, here's something people often overlook, but it's incredibly important. Crowds amplify curiosity. When you put 166,000 people in one place and have them all witness the same performance, the reaction doesn't stay contained in that moment. It spreads. A lot of things start happening at the same time, almost naturally. People pull out their phones and start recording. Not because they were told to, but because something about the performance feels worth keeping. Short clips get saved, shared, replayed. Then those clips find their way onto social media, Instagram, TikTok, X, and suddenly the performance isn't just for the people who were there anymore. At the same time, conversations start happening in the crowd. Friends turn to each other and ask, "Who are these guys?" Someone explains. Someone else admits it's their first time hearing them. And just like that, interest starts spreading person to person. And the audience wasn't one single type of listener. Some people were longtime fans who already knew every move and lyric. Others were hearing SB19 for the first time in their lives. And then there were those who may not have known the music at all, but felt the energy, the confidence, the way the crowd responded, and that alone made them curious. The important thing is that curiosity doesn't stop when the lights go down or when people leave the venue. It follows them home. It shows up later that night or the next morning, when they open their phones and think, "Let me look them up real quick." And that's where real momentum begins. After the event was over, something very telling happened. Google searches for SB19 shot up. And this part really matters, because it says a lot more than social media likes or crowd cheers ever could. People don't usually go out of their way to search for an artist after midnight on New Year's Eve. That's not something you do casually. If someone is opening Google at that hour, it's usually because something stuck with them. Maybe they were impressed. Maybe they were surprised. Or maybe the performance just stayed in their head and wouldn't let go. And when you see a search spike like this, it's important to understand where it's coming from. It's usually not from longtime fans. They already know who the artist is. Searches mostly come from new or casual viewers who just experienced something interesting and want more context. So what does that tell us? It tells us that SB19 reached far beyond their core fan base that night. It means the performance didn't just look good, it sparked real curiosity. And most importantly, it shows that the exposure didn't stop at awareness. It pushed people to take action, even if that action was as simple as typing a name into a search bar. In simple terms, people didn't just watch SB19 and move on. They wanted to know who they were, where they came from, and why everyone else seemed so invested. And that right there is the difference between being visible and actually making an impact. New Year's Eve already comes with a lot of emotion built into it. People are naturally looking back on the year they're leaving behind, thinking about what they want from the year ahead, and feeling a little more open than usual. It's a moment where people are paying attention, even if they don't fully realize it. So when an artist delivers a strong performance right in the middle of that moment, it tends to land differently. It doesn't just feel like another show. It becomes part of the memory of the night itself. For a lot of people, SB19 ended up being part of how they remembered the start of 2026. When they think back to that countdown, the performance is tied to the feeling of that moment. And when an artist becomes part of a personal memory like that, curiosity almost always follows. This event also reinforced something fans have known for a long time. SB19 is no longer just an idol group performing mainly for an existing fan base. They're growing into a broader cultural presence. They've shown that they can step in front of huge, mixed crowds and still connect. They can represent Filipino talent on major stages without needing long introductions or explanations. Their presence alone is enough to hold attention. That's why the spike in Google searches actually matters. It's not just a number. It's a sign of growth beyond dedicated fan spaces and into the wider public conversation. Moments like this don't just happen and disappear. They usually set other things in motion. When an artist pulls off a performance on this scale, it naturally attracts more attention. Media outlets start paying closer attention. New listeners from outside the usual audience begin to tune in, including people from other countries who may be hearing the name for the first time. And event organizers take note too. which often leads to more invitations to perform on big stages like this in the future. For SB19, the NYE 2026 countdown wasn't simply another appearance on a lineup. It was a statement. It showed, once again, that they can step onto the biggest stages, face massive crowds, and still make a lasting impression. More than anything, it proved that even after the lights go down and the countdown ends, people are left wanting to see and hear more from them. So yes, Google searches surged after the NYE 2026 countdown event. But more importantly, curiosity surged. And in the music industry, curiosity is the doorway to longevity. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell us what stood out for you about SB19's New Year's Eve performance. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.